My mom never talked about what a first night truly means. My name is Emily. I was just 18 when I got married. I didn't know much about marriage or what really happens after the wedding. I was just innocent, maybe too innocent. I thought it was just two people sitting on a decorated bed, maybe talking, maybe falling asleep next to each other. That's all I knew. But when I entered my new room that night, everything went silent. The noise outside faded. The air smelled of roses and candles. My heart beat fast, not out of excitement, but something else I didn't understand. Then the door opened. He walked in, my husband. He looked nervous too, but his smile was soft. He said nothing, just quietly locked the door and turned off the lights. My heart started to race harder. I didn't know what to do. A man was standing very near me. I just sat on the edge of the bed, playing with my bangles, pretending to be calm. He came closer. I could feel his breath near my neck. My hands froze in my lap. He gave me some water to calm me down and talk to me. But after some time he touched my arm. Gently, maybe he thought I'd be okay. But I wasn't. He started to reach for my dress and tried to unzip it. Then he touched my chest, and I felt so embarrassed and confused. My heart screamed in panic. My body reacted before my mind did. I pushed him away and slapped him. The sound of that slap broke the silence like thunder. He froze. His eyes widened, not in anger, but in shock. Tears filled his eyes instantly. He didn't say a word. He just stood there, breathing heavily, and then slowly walked out of the room. I sat there, shaking, crying quietly into my hands, wondering what I had done wrong. I felt embarrassed, confused, and scared all at once. The next morning, I told my mom everything, every single detail. She listened quietly, her face soft but serious. Then she held my hands and said gently, "Emily, marriage is not something to fear. It's about understanding, love, and patience. You both are new to this. Talk to him. Don't be scared of love. Just let it come slowly." Her words stayed with me. That evening, when he came home, I saw him sitting quietly in the living room, not even looking at me. His eyes were tired, sad. I walked up to him and whispered, "I'm sorry." He looked at me with such gentleness that my heart broke. "You don't have to be," he said softly. "I was the one who rushed things. I should have made you feel safe first." From that day, he changed everything. He didn't come near me for days, not because he didn't want to, but because he respected me. He made sure I felt comfortable, free, and loved. He'd ask how my day was, bring me small gifts, make me laugh, and tell me stories before sleeping. One night, I looked at him sitting by the window, reading quietly, and I realized I wasn't scared anymore. I was safe. It wasn't about what happens on the first night. It was about what happens after, when love learns to wait, when hearts learn to listen. He taught me that love doesn't need to be forced. It just needs time and kindness. And that's how our story began. Not with perfection, but with patience. The days slowly turned into weeks, and though our house was quiet, it no longer felt heavy. There was a new peace in the air, a calm understanding that words didn't need to fill. One morning, I woke up to the smell of something burning. I rushed to the kitchen, only to find him standing there with an apron, flipping pancakes that looked, well, more like black circles than breakfast. He laughed awkwardly when he saw me. "I tried," he said, scratching his head. I smiled for the first time in days. "You really did," I said, taking a bite that tasted half burned, half sweet but full of effort. After that, he started doing little things every day. In the evenings, he would bring a small plate of fruit to my room. "For you," he'd say simply. Sometimes, he'd leave it on my desk without even waiting for thanks. It wasn't about the fruit. It was about the care behind it, the quiet ways he showed me I mattered. One afternoon, I had a bad headache. Maybe from stress, maybe from thinking too much. I didn't even notice him come into the room until he placed a glass of water and a pill on the table beside me. "Take this," he said softly. "Don't do anything else today. Just rest." I looked up, surprised. He didn't hover, didn't say more, he just turned to leave. But that one line stayed in my heart all evening. Don't do anything. It sounded like care, like comfort. Later that night, I whispered a quiet thank you. He just smiled and said, "You don't need to thank me for caring." After that, he started stopping by my room every evening. Sometimes he'd just knock, peek in, and say, "Hi." That was it. Just a small greeting. But it became something I looked forward to, those little moments where silence turned into connection. He started asking about my favorite books, the music I liked, what colors I loved. I noticed how he remembered everything I said. It was in those moments, simple, quiet, and ordinary, that our walls began to fall. Weeks later, one night, I was sitting on the bed, brushing my hair. He came in quietly, like he always did. But something about that night felt different. He sat beside me and said softly, "You know, I never stopped waiting for the day you'd trust me." I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw the patience in his eyes, the love he had never forced. When he held my hands, it didn't scare me this time. His fingers wrapped around mine, steady and warm. For the first time, his touch didn't make me want to pull away, it made me feel safe, like I was home. That night wasn't about passion or fear. It was about closeness, about two people who finally understood each other's hearts. After that, life felt gentle. He still burned breakfast sometimes, still teased me about how I take forever to pick a dress. We laughed more, argued less, and learned how to be one team. Every evening, he'd come home, call out my name softly, and I'd run to the door smiling. Sometimes he'd still bring fruit, sometimes just a hug. He often said, "Love doesn't need grand gestures, just small things done with heart." And he was right. Because in those small things, the burnt pancakes, the glass of water, the soft hi at the door, I found everything I had ever dreamed love would be. He wasn't just my husband anymore. He was my best friend, my comfort, my home. Love didn't happen overnight. It grew quietly, gently, through care, patience, and kindness. And sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with misunderstanding and end with peace.